Hello. What's your name, Stephanie? What language do you speak at home? Brazil? I speak
Come on, this is the way. No, sorry, there's been a mistake.
You're not allowed to be here.
Let me in.
No, we're supposed to be in there.
No, I don't think we have to.
Sorry.
What? Do let me in. I need somewhere to sleep for the night, please. We don't have room. Please, just somewhere to lay my head. Just go home.
Joseph, it's the final call!
Please let me in. I really need the loot. Please!
Joseph! I'm coming! Are you coming, Joseph? It's a storm! Storm! Storm!
I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the Gull's Way and the Whale's Way, where the wind's like a whetted knife. And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and quiet sleep and sweet dream when the long trick's over.
Please let me in.
Please, let me in.
Please let me in!
I'm sorry, I haven't got the authority.
Can I see your identification?
I'm not who you think I am!
Are you a member?
Stop!
I know you can hear me.
We're full, I told you.
A storm is coming.
There's too many of
You already.
It would be really helpful if you could open the door now.
I can smell it on the wind. A storm is on its way.
Your name is Novelist.
I know what's going to happen to you. To the island.
You're not coming in!
What's that noise?
The island is full of noises.
It's a storm!
It's a storm! Who are you?
How did you know?
Mercy on us!
We split!
We split!
Farewell, children.
Farewell, my brother.
We split!
We split! We split!
This island is mine!
I was born in a place called Walkite, northwest Ethiopia. Until the age of 9, I was brought up only knowing farming. It was hard work, cutting and burning the trees before planting the crops. But because of civil war and other problems, my family decided to move to the Sudan. We often saw people passing our village going to the Sudan, and as a child, I always wanted to go as well. So I was very glad when my family decided that we should go too. I clearly remember the night we packed everything and walked away. The month was May, the year 1986. I was so excited because I thought we were going to a better place.
The journey was hard, walking during the night and resting during the day because of the heat. We were not alone, we had a family with us. Someone that had done the journey before acted as our guide. Walking during the night with only the moon as our light was very tough, but I was young and I didn't expect any danger. So we carried on walking for 5 nights and days until we came to a city of tents in a place called
Safawa.
tent after tent after tent. Islands as far as you could see.
This island.
others of your post-war generation benefited from growing as a part of Europe. Why do you want to take away these opportunities from young people today?
Well, what you youngsters want is to control your own lives. What Britain wants is to control her own laws and taxes. Yeah, that's what young people want. They want to control their own futures.
Do you have any sympathy with those who feel that immigration has gotten out of control?
Oh, absolutely. But the world is not what it was. This island is geschlossen. Geschlossen. It is full. It is complet.
Sir Thomas, in this the year of our Lord, 1516, with Catholic Europe in turmoil, are you really suggesting that we allow freedom of movement for all persons?
And also, as you say in your book, Utopia, that we abolish private property. Precisely how, my lord, would this work?
Those are not my words.
Surely immigration has been shown to
But I
benefit
do.
some.
Let me finish. I do dream of you. And in my dream, all things are held in common. And that is how things should be.
So then, who would protect the family?
And how is individual freedom to be protected from the claims of the mob?
Where any man protects only what he himself possesses, what can follow but blood, turmoil and tempest?
Terrorism, refugees, asylum seekers, ignore these at your peril. Self-determination, old boy, is an ancient British value.
But is it not also a core British value to bring in and help people who run from danger?
Yes, our island nation can and should be proud of its long tradition of welcoming strangers to our shores.
What do you say, Sir Thomas, to the view that most so-called heretics and terrorists are in fact homegrown and not to be blamed on immigration? Or that government policies are as much to blame as radical?
Do you agree that controlling our own borders is racist?
Racist?
Yeah, I think that we must protect the NHS.
Oh, the NHS, of course, yes, we must support the NHS. You see Nigel's bust, yeah? 350 million quid. I go to Brussels, could be spent on the nation's health.
Is Westminster out of touch with the people? Would you say that London has become an island separate from the rest of the country?
Speak for yourself.
But as Mayor of London, you pursued a policy of open borders, multicultural integration. What has changed?
What's changed? Oh, I'll tell you. Politics has changed. We must change with it. Our place is on the world map. Mappa Mundi. Not as I'm thought for a second, little corner of Ireland on the doorstep of the EU. No. Outside of Europe, we will prosper mightily and grow rich.
I hear the voice of greed. The rulers of my utopia won't be millionaires, court jesters and fools. No. My utopia will be governed by philosophers.
Lord Moore, is it not the case that people are never in the greater danger than when they are in the hands of philosophers?
Philosophers.
Oh, young man, I see you have wit, but no wisdom. Princes today do as too often as they please. They believe themselves to be above the common law. But I tell you this, no man is an island.
And, speaking of islands, let's take our own one back, shall we? Yet the referendum's coming up a few days away. Use your vote. Take back control.
I urge you to come and visit me in Utopia, where you will receive all of the honours due to you as citizens of the world.
Yeah, I've got a really great story.
No, he's still alive.
The The UN were there and they were receiving refugees. Life for a while was good, but I did not like it. It was rainy season and mud was everywhere. It was cold and damp. We had to learn Arabic so as not to seem different from the other people. The camp did not agree with me and I was often getting sick. Finally, Mum sent me to a different town to live with a sister in Umbrakaba. In this town, there was a St. Gabriel church. My mother gave me an offering to give to the church, to give to St. Gabriel if I got better. So, I went there, lived with my aunt, and I got better.
The next big town was only 4 hours by bus. The town was called Gadara. I went to the market there where they sold groceries and meat. I walked around by the stalls and waited for people to make purchases. And then I helped them carry their goods in my plastic bag, and they paid me. For them, it was like having their own servant for an hour. The competition was high, and there were other kids like me doing the same thing, so you had to be quick. After a month or so, I had earned enough money to go to the wholesale stores to buy cigarettes and sell them on at a small profit. So I stopped carrying bags, and I started selling cigarettes.
Please let me in, Miranda.
Leave me alone.
We need to talk about this.
I'm busy.
This is important. Things can't go on like this. We need to get this sorted.
I'm reading, isn't that what you want?
That's not fair. Your dad and I are just thinking about your happiness.
Were you thinking about that when you banned me from seeing Freddie?
I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter.
It's complicated. We're thinking about the long term, about your future.
Obey and be attentive.
You've ruined everything, so the least you can do is leave me alone to read.
Can't I remember a time before we came into this island south?
Don't be so dramatic. Freddie's just not a good influence, love. He's just not right for you.
How would you know? You don't know him.
Of course I do. You've been at school together since you were 5.
It was never a problem. We were friends in primary school, and now suddenly he's not a good influence.
When thou camest first, thou madest much of me, wouldst give me water with berries in it, and teach me.
And then I loved things. You don't know him like I do. All you can see is his dodgy family background. He's not like the others, Mum.
Oh, I know you think you know him, love. But things change. Family is important.
Look, I don't need your permission or your approval. I don't need you at all. I'm fine on my own. I'm happy. Leave me alone.
No man is an island.
Dost thou hear me, child?
This island is mine!
You are late. Where have you been?
I come to answer thy best pleasure.
Yes, that's true. You have always been good to me. You are a good soul, Ariel, not like the other ones.
I
I have done thee worthy service, Prospero. Served thee well, told thee no lies, served without grudge or grumblings.
So where is my coffee?
You don't seem your normal bright self today, sir.
Oh.
Is there something wrong?
You are here too?
You called for her, master, just now?
Did I?
Yes, you taught me language, and my profit on it. I know how to curse.
The worst thing in my life, worse than anything, was not being able to read and write. You don't know what year it is, what day, or anything. I learned by listening. When the 8 people at the camp said, "Coffee," I would remember what it meant and go and get it. I learned new words every day. If you know nothing, you just sit there, like a servant. I didn't want to be just a servant anymore.
Change is good, you know. Isn't that what you taught us?
The Red Plague rid you for learning me your language.
When I want to hear your voice, sit. I will ask you to speak. Now go, fetch us some more coffee. And be quick about it. Are you still pulling a face, girl? If you disobey my orders, I will rack you with pain and traps until your bone aches. Go!
I wouldn't mind moving on myself. I've been working for you for nearly 3 years now, and you did promise me my passport, and my papers.
All in good time, Ariel. Everything is changing too fast, and not for the better. Look around. If we are not careful, we will lose everything we have worked for over the years.
Everything we've worked for, more like. You've never worked a day in your life, hiding behind your books, your towers, your walls.
You understand nothing of what I do.
Oh, don't start. It's you lot who don't understand. You don't know the meaning of the word work. You live off your wealth and your words, and you treat the rest of us like slaves. Well, I'm done with it, and you can drown your bloody books. Ah! Caliban, no! This island is mine. You took it from me.
We're going to have strong, credible borders. But they're going to come into our country legally. They're going to come in legally. We're going to build a wall. It's going to be built.
You want tips on building a wall, Mr. Trump? Talk to my daughter. There's more walls between us than you could ever build. I climbed the marble steps of the palace with the highest towers. I crossed 6 courtyards. The gates to the main courtyard were shut with a grille, through which I could see the convicts with chains on their ankles hauling blocks from an underground quarry. I wanted to question the philosophers, so I went to the great library, but soon became lost amongst shelves collapsing under weight of the vellum bindings. I moved through corridors, through islands, through bridges even, until eventually my eyes fell on the farthest cabinet, filled with smoke, where a young girl lay on a mat, her hands glued to a book.
How did you get on?
I didn't. She's barricaded the door. The riot police couldn't get in there tonight.
What we got? In the next few weeks, we're going to be thinking about the concept of utopia and utopian thinking in politics as well as in literature. And we're going to start by looking at the context, where it all began. So, can anyone tell me what this is?
Handwriting. Ancient handwriting.
Okay, good. Ancient handwriting, but how ancient and whose writing is it?
Shakespeare. It's the only piece of his handwriting they've found.
Yes, good. How did you know that?
I found it on the internet. They found it in some library somewhere. I can't remember where.
You're in Oxford?
No, in London. But yes, it's the only bit of Shakespeare's handwriting we know of. It's a scene from a play.
Is it Romeo and Juliet?
No, it's called The Book of Sir Thomas More.
The man who wrote Utopia. What was the play about?
It was about a riot in London on May 1st, 1517. People were complaining against refugees. Radical preachers were stirring up protests.
What? Muslim preachers in Shakespeare?
No, Christians fighting against other Christians. It was the beginning of what's now called the Reformation, when the church split up into Catholics and Protestants. And people were dragged out into the street and killed, hung up on posts.
Why?
Because, they said, there were too many here already. England was full.
And because they're foreigners, right? And because they're different.
No more room, no more refugees. Like you get, yes, or the government, or Trump, or Corbyn, they're all the same.
So what did Shakespeare say?
So Shakespeare sends out Thomas More, sends him out onto the street, and Thomas More was like the foreign secretary of the time. So he sends him out onto the street, and this is what he says.
Grant them remove, and grant that this, your noise, has chid down all the majesty of England.
Imagine you see them, the wretched strangers, their babies on their backs.
With their poor luggage, plodding to the ports and coasts for transportation.
Imagine you sit as kings in your desires.
What had you got?
Well, so what had you got, eh? They're taking our chops? Yeah, bastards, they're our women!
I've been working here for 3 years now, and I still have no papers. Look at my hands. They're scarred from long days working the loom. But these are the shallowest of my scars. The others, no one can see.
We'll teach you. Hang her!
Someone get her!
They kept us locked in a room with 4 others. With all the other Protestant refugees from France, from Holland, from Germany. But we're nothing like them, and they call this mercy. All because they took us in when we had nothing. They feed and water us like animals.
Stop her! She's getting away!
Ravens!
Sunday morning is the only day I can speak my own language. They call this compassion, but in truth, all it does is it reminds me of what I left, what I ran away from. Aren't you going to run for it?
I live here now. This is my home.
I like it here. So many people want to welcome us, support us.
Look, how many have come today?
Yes, there are many people here. Good people.
There are no guns, no bombs. I can go out in public, you can't talk.
Oxford is like a magical island, like paradise.
Yes, there are many gardens here, but there are so many walls.
Beautiful streets, cobbles and colleges. Islands of stone. Oxford is a city of islands, most of them made of stone.
Amani, has anyone?
It's okay. I'm grateful to be in such a beautiful, safe place, but I want more. Like all these people, I have hopes and dreams, and
You're too proud. I have my pride, my dignity. Is that so bad?
nobody said you were a monster.
No, but I'm a trained accountant. Back home before the war, I had a good job with prospects. Here I'm the photocopy girl and I make coffee.
You have a job. You still have your dreams.
We have to believe that one day it will be better. What do you call that? Hope?
Utopia.
Yes, a brave new world.
Along the serried coast, the grey birds scream. Grey birds scream landward through the distant hall, and swinging through the dim, confounded shore, the everlasting boom of broken waves. Like muffled thunder rolls about the graves, the everlasting lives of yours. whose bones asunder bleach forevermore, in sobbing chasms and under choking caves.
Wait, do you have a spare pen, mate?
Wait, is it this lesson?
Yeah, it's that one. Sit down.
Does anyone know what the word utopia is?
Yes, it means a world where everyone lives happily together. A perfect world. But it doesn't exist. Perfection just can't happen. People aren't designed to see the good in each other.
Some of us do. Well, those are both valid points, because actually the word utopia comes from the Greek word for place, topos. And if you put a U in front of it, it becomes no place.
Well, exactly. A place that doesn't exist. Oh, come on.
Well, yes, but if you put an EU in front...
What, like Europe? Europe didn't exist when Thomas More was writing Utopia.
Might not exist much longer. Not if the Brexit vote goes through.
Brexit later, please. So, as I was saying, if you put an EU in front of Thomas More's topos, it becomes a happy place.
Well, exactly. Utopia. A happy place that doesn't exist. I was watching a documentary on TV about the tribe in the Kalahari Desert. They only kill to eat, they don't have any property, and they leave no ecological footprint. Their families are different to ours as well. They look after the children collectively. And that's Utopia, I think, and it's real too. They showed them on TV.
On TV! Thank you, Stefan. That's a really interesting example. Actually, Thomas More's Utopia talks about every single one of those things. Common property, the ecology, abolishing the family, living collectively and in harmony with nature.
Except that Utopia was an island, not a desert.
And also it was surrounded by walls as well as water.
To keep people out.
Or in.
Surely there are as many utopias as there are people in the world. I mean, look, there's people moving around every day looking for a better life.
Yes, that's right.
Teacher's pet!
So as we saw last week, Shakespeare understood that Thomas More was writing partly in response to precisely these kinds of questions, to the refugee crisis of his own time, the early 16th century.
I told you Europe didn't exist back then.
Well, I'm glad you were listening. Yes, Europe is itself, as we know it, a kind of utopian ideal, a powerful dream born of the brutality of the Second World War.
So what happens now?
The referendum hasn't happened yet. People might want to vote.
They haven't. Haven't you heard? People want change. There's a storm coming. We split. We split.
Alright, that's enough for one day. Can you please make sure you've done the reading for next week?
No, not more!
Storm on the island!
Not more poetry.
I wish you wouldn't be like that.
Like what?
So angry and negative, it's not you.
It might be me. You don't know. Your mum could be right.
Come on, Freddie, something's getting to you. What is it?
Nothing.
Something's happened. Why won't you tell me? Is it your parents again? You used to... Look, you know you can talk to me about anything, right?
Yeah, no, it's nothing. It's a bad week. Listen, we don't get much time together. I don't want to spend it in this place. Let's get out of here.
Let me run and grab my coat. I'll meet you in the yard.
Okay. There are no trees that might provide company when the wind blows full blast. You know what I mean. Leaves and branches can create a tragic chorus in a gale. So you can listen to the thing that you fear most, forgetting that it too pummels your house. But there are no trees, and no natural shelter.
Loser!
Whatever, you're the loser.
Oh, says the freak!
Come on, you two, stop winding each other up. We're going to be at the end of the lunch queue at this rate.
This is a lost cause, you're a lost cause.
Whose fault is that?
It's just too hard.
I'm not going to forget this, you know.
Just there the kids. I can't go through it all again.
That's right, blame the kids.
Damn, why we're in this mess!
Don't know why I ever bothered.
I told you this was coming! We split! We split! We split! Farewell, my wife and children! We split!
Go away!
Oh!
monster! Free! Loser!
Stop it!
What's happening?
Mate, are you okay?
Tell them to get lost! Just do it, you little freak!
Freddie, what's wrong?
Is it happening again? I can't breathe. Is it one of your panic attacks?
You never told me about this.
This isn't the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, dare to dream that the dawn is breaking on an independent, united kingdom. If the predictions now are right, this will be a victory.
The city of Oxford is made up of two half-cities. One of these cities is made of the roller coaster, with the great steep humps, the Ferris wheel with its chain spokes, and the trapeziums at the top. The other half-city is made of marble and stone and cement, and is made up of the banks, the palaces, the churches, the mosques, the schools, the synagogues, and all of the rest. One of these half-cities is permanent, the other is temporary, and when one period of time is up, the buildings are uprooted, the walls dismantled, and the half-city is transported to another half-city in another place at another time.
Time. Coming to you this evening from the main hall of the Oxford Union. And on your question time panel tonight, two specially invited guests. We have the Foreign Secretary and the Prime Minister, both old members of this university. And then, of course, there is our lovely Oxford audience. Our first question is from Stephen, who is a student.
Mr. Johnson, the way is now clear for you to trigger Article 50, but my question is Brexit, our future, the right option?
Well, Stephen, it's a divorce. And like all divorces, it's messy. But this referendum has opened up a door in our lives. I look through that door and I see sunlit meadows beyond. Take this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to walk through that door.
And the Britain we will build after Brexit is going to be a global Britain. We are leaving the European Union, but we are not leaving the continent of Europe. Now is the time for us to forge a bold, new, confident role for ourselves on the world stage. We will provide humanitarian aid for refugees in need. We will take the lead on the crackdown on modern slavery wherever it is found.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I'm sure there are those of you that will be waiting to see just how translatable your words turn into actions. Next question, please.
Is this the end of the utopian experiment known as Europe?
No.
Yes, I certainly
Well, the PM and I would be in complete agreement, I think, in saying that Brexit is the great project of European liberalism. A very beacon that will, in time, show how we, the Leavers, were vindicated by history.
Say now, our king hath banished you. Whither would you go? What country by the nature of your error should give you harbour? Go you to France or Flanders, to any German province, to Spain or Portugal, nay, anywhere that not adheres to England? Why? You must needs be strangers.
But how will Brexit work out for the ordinary person?
Well,
Would you be pleased to find a nation of such barbarous nature that breaking out in hideous violence would not afford you an abode on earth, whet their detested knives against your throats, spurn you like dogs?
You haven't told us what any of this actually means. In practice.
And treat you like as if God owed not, nor made not you, as if you are not merely strangers, but not even human, but monsters. What would you think to be thus used?
This is the stranger's case, and this is your mountainish inhumanity.
We're obviously living in a great time of change, and everyone has their different idea about what that change should look like. So I'd now like to open it up to the audience, the members of the public. If you could change one thing about Oxford, what would that be? I'm going to come round and ask you all. So I hope you have some answers. Would anyone like to change anything about Oxford? Oh, you're a quiet audience. Found someone up here. Hello, young man. What would you like to change about Oxford?
House prices?
Hello, sir.
I like to change the parking. Way back.
Right, yes.
The man I now call Dad knew breaking the golden rule of relief work. Never get personally involved, but he could not stop himself trying to make a difference. He gave me a job and paid for me to go to a night school in Khartoum. I tried to make my work perfect, but then, when things got really bad back home, he was able to bring me here. He became my legal guardian and brought me to Oxford. He thought I might become a lawyer, but I wanted to be an accountant, or manage a hotel, or maybe a college. At school, I liked geography, French, and long distance running. I still run every day, sometimes at night too.
Please let me in.
Leave me alone.
We need to talk about this, Miranda.
I'm busy.
This is important. We need to get this sorted.
I'm reading. Isn't that what you want? To go to university, to Oxford, just like you?
Oh, that's not fair.
I've done nothing but care of thee, my daughter, of thee, my dear one.
What's that noise?
I'm listening to something on the radio. It's a play.
No, I heard a voice.
It's all in your head, Mum.
He's not in there with you, is he?
Leave me alone, please.
I don't think it should be like this. Parents shouldn't imprison their children. Children should be released at birth.
Liberate them. Give them a fresh start. Put them all in one big separate place together.
That way we'd learn. We wouldn't have to live for ourselves. We'd be able to live for everyone. Form our own tribes. Understand our own islands.
Parents do the best they can. Sometimes they just need a helping hand. Be not afeard. The isle is full of noises, sounds and sweet airs, that give delight and hurt not.
Sometimes 1,000 twangy instruments hum around mine ears.
And voices, as if I then had waked after long sleep.
And then should sleep again. And then in dreaming the clouds methought would open and show riches ready to drop upon me, that when I waked I cried to dream again.
This is an historic moment from which there can be no turning back. Britain is leaving the European Union. We are going to
Come on, love, we're going to be late.
What for?
Stefan's here. He said he wanted to come to the march with us, and I said that would be fine.
Hey, I brought the banner. You know, the one we made in class?
What are you talking about?
You know, the one for the march?
Oh, right. Good. I'll be on that now. Use the window. We'll meet you by the entrance to South Park.
Okay.
Oh, it's really very good, Stefan. I didn't know you did this sort of thing. Miranda doesn't tell me anything that goes on at school.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So, are you and Miranda still close? I hope you don't mind me asking, but you used to be such good friends.
Yeah, but...
It's just clear that you're very sensitive and very talented, if I must say so.
Well, actually...
Freddie! Freddie!
I found him. He's here.
Can I
Oh,
have it?
you're holding it. It looks okay.
Okay, I think it's amazing. I was just saying to Stefan.
Whoa.
Freddie, where did you get the idea?
Oh, I don't know. It was just a poem. It's not mine though.
It's still brilliant. I mean, you created the picture and so you made it your own.
Yeah, mate, it's really good. You could do anything if you weren't so bloody miserable all the time.
No, man. It's all I'm saying. It's not mine. Like someone else came up with the idea.
It is still very good, although quite surprisingly so, if I might say so.
Thanks, I guess. It's all I'm saying is I didn't create it for me. I made it for everyone.
You may write me down in history with your twisted, bitter lies.
You may trod me in the very dirt.
But still, like dust, I'll rise.
You may shoot me with your words.
You may cut me with your eyes.
You may kill me with your hatefulness.
But still, like air, I'll rise.
Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise.
Into a daybreak that is wondrously clear, I rise.
Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave me.
I am the hope and the dream of the slave.
I rise.
I rise.
I rise.
Before everybody gets up. Go ahead.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. I'm Corinne. I'm one of the joint CEOs here at Pegasus. Thank you so much for joining us this evening to support this wonderful production. Just to say, we're so proud at Pegasus to be a place where work like this can find a home and be developed, and thank you all for supporting it, really. And I know, just to introduce, where's most of you know who made the project a reality and dreamed it up?
I just wanted to say... This is a co-production between Pegasus
and the university, and in particular the Oxford Research Centre for the Humanities talk. And as part of that, if anybody wants to, you're quite free to go, but if anybody wants to stick around, we'll give you a few minutes to go off and do whatever else you might need to do. But if anybody wants to come back here in about 3-5 minutes, and we'll just have a brief discussion, really, for 5-10 minutes at the most, about stuff that was in the show with members of the cast. Everything that you saw here was generated through rehearsal, through people's stories, Asifai's story in particular, but also other people in the cast. And so if you want to kind of either know a bit more about how we made it or else other questions that you might have, please feel free to come back in a few minutes. The guys will come back on again and we'll be ready to talk. If you need to go, that's fine. Most of all, thank you very much for coming this evening.
I'm always the person. No, I'm always the person. I'm like, yeah.
If I had said that, I would have answered.
No, I was reading the night of the Trump was back, but the night of are they
If I want to go on
Excellent. Happy Easter. She's sometimes like very slowly.
No, I don't think you wanted to play it. Oh! I've never known I will walk towards someone by putting their hands in their face and I'm like, I like that.
Oh no, that's just annoying.
Thank you for staying. I'm not going to do all the chat. The first thing I'm going to say is also to thank Harrod, who's just sat there. He made it with us too, massively so. So this is, with the nice lapping sound of the water behind us, is to see if you've got any questions, if you've got any comments. They don't have to be just questions. If you've got anything to say, or anything you'd like to ask, either of Anne and myself, as those who weren't performing but who helped make it, or of these guys who made it. Over to you. Yes.
Sorry, can you say that? Can you say
why
that?
do you choose to do this kind of performance instead of a traditional play? So, for instance, instead of just a version of The Tempest. Okay. Blimey, do you guys have some slides?
The Tempest is already done, so we'll just go from here.
Yeah. Anything else?
Something that came out of our kind of personal responses to ideas like Utopia and Brexit and correction and so it all came from like rehearsals and discussions and
I think we knew we wanted to do a kind of mashup of lots of different stuff, and then through we haven't had all that long actually, so it's been quite a kind of quick mashup of different things. And yeah, you were going to say something. Somebody was going to say something about it. Yeah. Go on.
I think if we only had one that was like the normal play, then we have to do like 7 normal plays and get everything that we had into one little.
Yeah, I think there's lots of different kinds of story in this, and different times and all the rest of it. So, yeah, and also different books. You know, people are reading different books at various times, different people's stories. So, and to be honest, I'm not very good at making normal plays. Whenever I try and direct them, I get stuck. Whereas, you know, inventing stuff, making stuff up, putting bits with other bits and collage and things like that, it's just, you know, I'd say the muse makes me do that sort of thing, rather than, rather than like whatever a normal play. It's a good question in that there's lots of bits of normal plays in there.
It's also responding to actually what's happening now, and you couldn't do that with a received play.
Yes, yes. I mean, of course, you could do a version of The Tempest that was about right now, but this is another way of thinking about that. You were going to ask something as well.
Yeah, and really, it was brilliant mashup. I mean, excellently executed. Curious what the journey was in the process for it to come to this fruition. Because it was clear that there's lots of stories and lots of influences besides the text. But can you just give us a little bit of insight of that creative journey you went on?
Yeah. So it might be interesting to say that we did a very first early pilot version of this show way back in the summer of 2015. 20-minute show with a different cast, some of the same ideas, but particularly the fusion of Moore's Utopia and The Tempest. And this is a different play because it's had different cast members in it who brought different things to the show. So two big ingredients, I'd say, fairly obviously would have been the referendum and the discussions we had as a group about the questions that raises for the whole idea of a better place, a better society, a dream of something new and improved. And then the other thing to spare, if I shouldn't, sorry to spare it, it's his blushes, but Asfi was a new addition this time round, and along with other people, but his story as we worked also came forward to the front of our preoccupations, and that was sort of, that then became one of the major narrative strands. I don't know if that answers the question. But
I think on like an entirely practical level, a lot of how we created the scenes and a lot of how we integrated the story was through kind of playing around basically. And so Wes or Anne Harrod might give us an idea or a scenario, whether that's what's a utopian world to you, or what do we think about islands, how can we show this, and we get given a stimulus and we would improvise something or create a scene or create, even if it was just a kind of a freeze frame. And so we had all these little kind of bits of creative nuggets which we could kind of tie together and weave into a narrative.
That's absolutely right. The play, I mean, sometimes a rehearsal is precisely, I know Harold and myself saying, okay, you've got 2 minutes, an island, or a storm. And somebody come up with a brainstorm, somebody else comes with an argument at home, somebody else comes up with something else. So there are these kind of key words, if you like, but also key concepts that then get physicalized with objects and in particular things, and then there's nuggets or bits of stuff that somehow we have to weave together into a story or into a set. Yeah.
Richard mentioned the pilot that we did.
Yeah.
And actually, so Wes and I had maybe a 10-page script that we had from the pilot, and we thought that was going to be the basis for this
We thought it was
piece.
easy, we got
We were
easily
like,
on
we've got
time.
10 pages. We've used half a page from that. And we thought, when we did the pilot, we had 6 questions that we brought to the cast, the pilot cast, and we asked the same 6 questions of this cast. And we had such vastly different ideas that we didn't feel it was fair there to push on them the ideas of the previous cast. So we had to do a lot of rewriting, and we sat in an Oxford college somewhere. Typing madly these guys' ideas. So partly because politics has changed, like David said, and partly because these guys came up with some really interesting ideas. But one of the questions was, what is an island? We had quite a big debate about what creates an island. Does an island have to have water around it? And we decided no, it just had to be something that was surrounded by something different. So the milk was built on the floor, I think was one of your examples of that.
Something surrounded by something other than itself.
And it did keep
great definition.
It did keep growing. I mean, we were told when we arrived it was going to be a 20-minute show.
Yeah.
And then just kind of it took off, and more things appeared.
Yeah, Isabel.
We also talked about the metaphorical idea of an island, for example, a book or a piece of music or something. So then that was sort of incorporated through how we had the character of the actual human being, Miranda, but then also Prospero, Caliban, and Ariel, who existed within her mind and within the book, and also within Freddie's mind.
And someone said that they used books to escape into, and then they became islands themselves. And so that was how the sort of 2 layers of your character and the Tempest came together.
And also, to be honest, part of the project, the whole point of the collaboration between the university and Pegasus was, because Oxford is a city of islands. And so part of the point of this was to kind of build bridges, ways between, again, some of these guys, I work in the university, some people have never been inside the university, but they've lived in Oxford all their lives. And by the same token, university students never cross Magdalen Bridge, because they think, they talk about Cowley as if it starts at the plane. And so I think there's a real, just in terms of the political geography of Oxford, that was part of this project, was to kind of to do some work around that as well. Yes?
Yes, actually, I wanted to ask you about how this relates to your work as academics, and why did you decide to use this kind of format, and how does that relate to your research? And I wanted to ask the cast how they found working with the academics.
Let's start with the second one.
Well, actually find working with academics.
I serve academic every day, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I work with academics, and you just nod and smile.
Anyone else? Okay, in terms of our research, well, Richard and I, we both work in the modern languages department. We both work on mainly 16th and 17th century French and Italian and Latin and what have you, writing of the time. And yeah, variously, we've worked on travel stuff, on Utopia, on monsters, on various things that turn up in this play. The point was not really to kind of go, oh, can I get this bit of my book in here, in the show. It's rather just, these are themes, how do these themes, questions, nodules of nuggets, as Caitlin said, what do they feel like when you put them in a totally different context or a different set of configurations or lines? And what happens when of course, it's marvellous when one sees the kind of very close contextual work that you do as a sort of historical academic turned into something entirely different. There's a real pleasure in that, and then you're also reminded of what literature is about, or what this whole business of storytelling is about, not just about particular time and place. It's a bigger thing.
Thank you. It was fantastic. I should have said that at the beginning.
Thank you. Yes, I'll come back. Yeah.
It was fantastic. I wanted to ask you if Thomas More's Utopia had a special place in the devising or not at all? Was
Yes,
it
it
just
did.
one?
Yes, yes. Again, part of the money that came from Torch was specifically to look at Thomas More's Utopia, Montaigne's de Cannibal, The Tempest. I mean, a sort of little nexus of texts about strange new worlds, generated in the 16th century or the early 17th century, and what's the, if you like, what do those texts tell us or have to say to us now at this moment that we're becoming an island all over again and so on. So yes, that they were there. They were there sort of from the outset. Certainly of this second version. I mean, The Tempest was already there in version 1, wasn't it? Yes. More's Utopia was less present. More's Utopia has become part of it.
Sorry, can I ask you how it was used in the rehearsal? Whether they asked them to read it or...
That was my question.
No, we didn't. We weren't quite setting homework in the way that Victoria was in the classroom. But, well, yeah, go on.
I think both as a class member and as a kind of researcher,
Yeah.
I think the kind of more academic stuff wasn't the starting point. It was more kind of to see it kind of naturally kind of trickled in because it is so relevant and so pertinent to what's happening now. The bits of dialogue, a lot of them have been lifted from 16th century texts and they're so relevant to modern day. But I think they weren't meant to be kind of just stuck on because they had to be. I think we really felt like they kind of like naturally had a place in the kind of modern story.
I felt very much that it made me look back at texts like Utopia, which I haven't studied for a long time, and look at them in a different way. And it also made me look at current events in a different way as well, actually reflecting back on Thomas More and how those things relate to each other. So it was really fun to be practically doing that, juxtaposing those things.
And it was also a huge amount of fun. I mean, I spent a lot of time working on the history of Thomas More's Utopia and its translation and adaptation and so on. It's fantastic to be suddenly in the middle of a creative adaptation of the thing that I've worked on. And also great to be the naughty boy at the back of the class. We saw. Delivering her lecture about Utopia, and I was throwing bits of paper at people. It was a huge sense of relief.
I think it's fair to say that it's part of Anne Heron's job to tell us when we're being too academic. And she does it very, very, very well. And very, very justly. So I think, this isn't the first time I've worked with Anne Heron. That's part of the kind of pleasure of it as well, to go back to that question about, why are you doing this? Well, it's partly to work with people who know their stuff, just as we know our stuff, and then go, okay, so what can we do with it? Yes. And then I'll come back to the back. Yes.
Thank you. This is a slightly academic question. Sorry.
No, that we are allowed to.
One of the things about Utopia is that people debate what it means because it's written as a kind of fictionalized narrative spoken by someone who identified as a speaker of the nonsense. And so it's kind of strange from actually standing behind any of the statements that it makes. And I wondered whether you felt any inhibitions about making explicit political statements in this piece of work, or whether you didn't feel any inhibitions, or whether you felt that there were things you could kind of, because you were making a play, you could play with and explore in that kind of play space that might be more difficult in a conversation.
Yeah. Now that's an academic question, but it's also a playmaking question, which is. So exactly. Go on.
Thank you.
Go on.
Oh. I don't really know. So you say academic question, then I go, oh, okay, I can't answer this. That sounds like a playmaking question.
It was.
I think, yeah, it does.
Retract everything I said.
It's only for questions.
They might be the same question.
Yeah, it could be the same thing. I think that's what was quite exciting about using Thomas More's text, is that we could we didn't have to say, okay, this is how we want to present it, and we want to make this exact political statement because we want to say, you know, we didn't necessarily assign a political statement to it. So when we were using the text, it was very much, we're going to present it to an audience, we're going to use it within the play, we're going to chop it up, but we're presenting it to you, so we're not going, this is how you need to interpret it, which I think is, yeah, you're right, maybe you can't get in a conversation which would just be kind of, I think this, okay. It's more like, let's explore what this looks like visually and what this sounds like, and then that allows us to think about the different political messages behind it, whether that's clear cut or not.
There's a question at the back. Yeah, we got 2 more minutes, I think.
Right.
Sorry, this front. I'm sorry. Yes.
What was it, pilot session of this performance?
Pilot session the other day, you mean?
Yeah.
Or the pilot session way back when?
The pilot session.
Way back when? Oh, blimey. So many. The pilot session way back when,
was largely based in Cowley.
Yes.
Cowley Centre.
Yes.
And it had an old lady at the centre of it who was sort of reminiscing on her life choices, and she had a daughter who was struggling, who was more of the sort of Tempest character, and she was in a cafe, so Caliban was a waiter in the cafe and was a servant that way, and she was just sort of reflecting more about what had happened in her life, the choices she'd made, and her family, and how those choices had impacted her family and the island that they created as a family.
And the sort of the disaster, if you like, in that play was a flood. So there was an idea that Oxford had been flooded, and that everybody who lived down at this bit of town had to move up to Headington, to Cowley, to wherever. And so there was a kind of ecological disaster as opposed to, for instance, political disaster at the middle of that play. And that's one of the things that shifted, from that to this. We've got time for one last question. Yes, sir.
Obviously, it's an intergenerational piece. Just probably one to the cast. What were the challenges that you guys faced with it being intergenerational, and what were the really exciting things about that?
Yeah, go for it.
I didn't find very many challenges. I thought that it was really interesting because we were working. Of course, like most of the young part of the cast are either students at school or fewer students at Oxford University. And so it was really interesting getting to work with the academics who are part of Oxford University, but also really, really interesting to hear about Asfo's story, because someone our age couldn't have lived a life like that. And it was just really fascinating hearing where everyone had come from.
Yeah.
It also felt really good, like, even though we're quite young, to like, our voices will get be heard in this process, like, if we thought something, just opinions to it, an idea, it was definitely, we felt like we could definitely say it, and we wouldn't be like discouraged since we found her. And yeah, it was like, what I looked at Claudia. It felt pretty good. Yeah.
Joseph.
The challenge was when we were doing the metaphoric islands and the physical islands, and to understand what we're meant to do. So if it's like a book island, I wasn't sure if we were literally going to stand on a book or just walk around.
Yeah, it's a fair question. In fact, we spent quite a lot of the play standing on a book, thanks to Naomi's absolutely brilliant design. Richard, one more thing, and then precisely, go on then, Richard.
I was going to say about the intergenerational challenge. What you've got to understand is that it's the young people here who are the pros.
Yeah.
And it's the older people who are the amateurs.
Yeah.
So the massive challenge for me was to remember my lines and to live with the anxiety of that the young people were one day going to learn their lines, and they weren't going to learn their lines till later on because they're the pros and they know that there's a moment when it all comes together. Whereas I was like, oh no, I just can't remember which, what the cue is. So things are not always what they seem, and I've learned a lot about acting as well as other things from working with the younger.
I was just going to say the energy they had is amazing. They wouldn't stop talking, they wouldn't stop moving. That's a good thing or bad?
Yeah. Okay, we'll give them a round of the last word. Go on then.
Just adding on Aisha's point, from the sort of political perspective of the play,